Are we on? We're rolling. Give Faye a hand here, everyone. Welcome.
Thank you.
Faye. Chinese classic, Dream of the Red Chamber, Story of the Stone. I've assigned you and Weijia to make an interactive transmedia version of this.
Yeah.
Incredibly complicated piece. Very beautiful, but I can't. To me, it's like Proust, Remembrance of Things Past. I can't. I'm locking into certain characters, and it's very surreal, but it's very spatial to me. To the American audience, listen up. Don't attend to your screens. 2 households in Beijing. They're on their ascendancy, and then they decline, right?
Yeah.
Even Mao Zedong, a communist, read this book 5 times and thought it was beautiful as an example of decadence, right?
Yeah.
So this book has survived like ups and downs of recent Chinese history. What and how, and I already given you this whole thing. It was like, do it in cinema, do it in interactivity, do it as a play, turn it, because it's so complex, do it as a hybrid. How can you tell these Americans what and how you are going to capture the flavor of this great classic?
I have to say that the novel, the classic novel, the essential things about it is about women heroes.
Correct, because we have the matriarch, we have Black Jade.
Yeah.
Black Jade figures important in the abridgment that I read.
Sure.
Explain this woman, Black Jade, and how she's contrasted to maybe Pam Anderson. Do you know who Pam Anderson is?
Not really.
Baywatch. There's a character called Black Jade. Yeah, character called Black Jade. It's the one Borat wants to kidnap in the film Borat. Black Jade is she's very beautiful in a very ethereal way, right?
Yeah.
She's a little bit sick.
Yeah.
But Chenju is madly in love with her, right?
Yeah.
How does she represent the idea of Chinese beauty?
She's purity.
But she's also mean.
Yeah, but that means she's clever, and she knows everything.
But not evil. A little bit of evil too.
A little bit naughty.
Okay.
And she's good at poetries. And
She writes.
She writes beautiful poems, and it's about he is in his cousins. He lives in her cousin's family because both her parents died.
Oh, so she's like an orphan too.
Yeah.
And she stands up. She's a woman. Is she a Chinese version or a global version of a strong? It's the 13-inch Mac. If not, someone will film it and we'll keep going. Adjectives to these Americans. What would you want them to feel?
You just said about Black Jade, but there are a lot of other women in this novel. There's another
servants and noble women and dragon ladies and matriarchs and
and it has a collection of all the kind of beautiful women in China. Another main character, I don't know how to translate it, is a little bit older than Black Jade. Also the main character.
What's her name? What's her? Is she Perfume? What's the English name to her?
I'm sorry, I cannot remember.
Yeah, I don't know how good my translation is, but it's.
But she's exactly opposite of Black Jade. She's sunshine.
Ugly?
No,
she's beautiful too. Okay.
She's beautiful, but Black Jade is thin and sickness, a little sick all the time, sorrow all the time, feel like I don't belong here.
Ethereal, like we would say, the kind of like pre-Raphaelite type, right?
Yeah.
Americans are English-speaking people, or sickly sort of ethereal beauty. When you say they're very sickly, but they're almost ethereal, almost. Can you explain, because they're very important, there's a Taoist monk and a Buddhist monk who meet this sad stone. And the stone wants to become human so he can experience every emotion a human is experienced. And he calls us the red dust. These are wonderful images. Why are we the red dust?
That is a
Weishen?
long.
What's that?
The translation to
Yeah, sure.
What's the translation of red? Hoshen? And the whole people who study the dream of the red chamber are called redologists, right?
Yeah.
So it's an important concept. Red is an important concept. Explain to the Americans, what is red dust?
Oh, it's not just from that one novel. It has a long history.
So you use it in China. Your
Yeah.
red dust, as I understand it, gang, is human beings, mortals.
Yeah.
People
but
who are raised, have passions,
who are
get
not
sick,
God.
and then who are not dead yet.
Not God.
Not God, are mortal, are
Yeah.
flawed, will decay,
Yeah.
and this lonely little stone, listen up here, gang, lonely little stone wants to become a human just to experience all the pain a human being would experience.
Yeah. The word red dust is more like object to what the Buddha says about
Suffering and samsara.
Yeah.
Samsara, right?
Yeah.
How important is the Taoist element? This element of, hey, you know,
Dao in the novel or the
Tao in the novel, Tao in current in Chinese culture. I'm a big fan of Taoism because it's like Nature Boy, right? If it feels good, do it, right? Whereas Confucianism is like, better be proper. The criticism I read is this is a Taoist novel.
Yeah.
Is it? Why?
What the famous quote from Dao's novel is like, Dao is everything.
It's nature, it's lust, it's mistakes, it's death.
Dao gives birth to one gives birth to two gives birth to three, and three gives birth to everything.
And three give birth, which to you Kerouac fans, Kerouac on the Road is the great American Taoist novel. Actually, it's been not even a Buddhist novel. It's been mentioned as the great Taoist novel. Americans who like Jung, you like On the Road. What's Taoist about On the Road to you? Taoism,
That's nature. Dao's followed what nature cow.
Yeah, he was a scribe in the Beijing court. He said, screw this shit, I'm heading into the woods. And some guy said, oh, I heard you're pretty smart. Before you go into the woods, would you mind writing the book of all your thoughts? He said, okay, at least I can do it. Lao Tzu, right? Lao Tzu did this. What? Lao Tzu. He said, all right, he lived the same time as Confucius, and great period, and he was heading out of town. He gave this night watchman his book. He said, it's like 150 pages. It's the Tao Te Ching, right?
Yeah.
It basically says, if it feels good, do it. Right?
Yeah, it's a one way to look at it.
Yeah. It doesn't say, well, if you put your finger in the electric socket and it gets shocked, you did it because you thought it felt good. It doesn't mean anything about consequences. But it's the quickest way to describe it. Americans, jump in. What would make you guys curious about this novel and this take of this transmedia take of this novel in order to come to an event? Yeah, I would like this to be in Chinese and English. And graduate students, I'd like you to find equivalent feelings. Like it would be great to put modern American costumes on some of these people. Just like, okay, this is Black Jade. She's like a club girl, but she's wearing one of those little black dresses, but she's extra pale from being sick or something like that. I mean, find those postmodern signs about twisting this around. Americans, what else would make you want to come and see this piece? John?
That you're thinking, like, kind of put it in a modern scenario.
Yeah, like we constantly do it with Shakespeare. Grad students, Wei-Zhen, what would you do to keep the original flavor of the piece in a modern dress version?
That is the hardest part of this direction,
Mm-hmm.
because the one thing we talk about this novel, all we think as the Chinese, as the people from East, we have our background how to enjoy the beauty of this novel. But you as the Western people, you have your own culture, so it's pretty hard to translate those words or those feelings.
Right.
But there is a very important concept in Chinese art is like making the similarize with the inner but not the form.
The inner meaning comes out, but not the form.
Not the form.
Yeah. That in Chinese is called wu.
Ooh.
Something wu. Something you cannot
It's
see.
object.
You cannot see it. You cannot.
What you
describe
say
it.
is different, but what you feel is the same.
Americans, let's talk. The thing that following up on this, they say jokes can't be translated. Philip, is that true?
It's not true. It's
No. This concept of ooh. If Philip, can jokes be translated from culture to culture?
It all depends on like the context.
Who's your favorite comedian?
Currently, Patton Oswalt probably.
He's funny. He can be straight and he can be raunchy. Who else? Catherine, can jokes be translated? Who's your favorite comedian? I like Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock and like black folks and white folks. I like all of Alicia.
I don't think jokes can be translated. Just like sayings, like certain sayings, different cultures, it means something else. Like my best friend's Portuguese, and like she says things that we wouldn't understand, but in her culture, like it makes perfect sense to them.
Right. You laugh. Omar, are you about to say?
I was gonna say, yeah, you can translate jokes, but the thing is, you have to have a basic understanding of where it's coming from.
This is what the Chinese were saying about this ooh or this nuance or this essence that cannot. And this is why, in describing this project, that with the combination of media, we can get the atmosphere, the ooh, maybe, if we try, that would help the Americans understand it. And
I always, in my mind, I always have a mind that there will be a conflict if we want to use the modern techniques to express those things. Because in my opinion about this novel, this green novel, all those things you can do is cannot be only translated by the form of those new technology things. It's kind of the feelings that you have been you have lived in a place. You have been influenced by its culture, by its history, and then you really
Right.
enjoy.
it would take an American 20 years to understand the real meaning of this piece, right?
Yeah, but
5 years.
we all humans.
We're all human. That's the sign of a great novel.
It's a difference of your concept about the value. In China,
What's name again? Caitlin, what's the ooh of Catcher in the Rye?
His thoughts and his feelings on like.
Which is kind of really American. That sort of pissy,
Well, it's
bratty,
like American teenager.
hipster, wannabe hipster, but wannabe free. The American mythos of getting in the car and just going, right?
I think it was all the detail that he put in, like about people, I guess.
But Salinger sketched really quickly. I mean, sketched. It was just, my brother, he sold out. This one sold out. That one sold out. What's Holden Caulfield's going to a private school? What does he care about selling out? He's like, we can go to Williamsburg and see like thousands of Holden Caulfields, But Omar, is that a very American thing? The disgruntled hipster?
I
Not
like
all
it's
the time.
becoming.
No.
Be like lately.
People want to diss. I mean, rightly so, diss the hipster for being so
But I feel
glib or taking real rebellion and turning it into a barista complaint. I mean, I live in Brooklyn, man. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, oh, hipster on $8 an hour. Good. You're not, don't worry about selling out here, Chad. So, Angela, you're about to say.
Yeah, I think to truly understand like the ooh, we have like represented in many different forms of like media, like writing it out with your words maybe, or drawing a picture, film, music. Like I think that you can't just describe it through one thing.
I'm very interested when I read that fact that Mao read this book 5 times. And he held the ooh up of decadence.
What is that?
Decadence is decay. So Mao was pointing at the book, even though he admired it and loved it, and said, we Chinese don't want to become these families. Has modern China become those two families again?